All right. All right, guys, you know what time it is? It is right on the spot. Today we have Cody the Writer here, and I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself to you all.
Hi, I'm Cody. I am Cody the Writer on the internet, but as far as author-wise, I am Cody Wayne Morris. I published this book this year, The Ghostwriters Club. It is my debut mystery thriller. And yeah, so basically I write books and talk way too much on the internet.
As we all. All right. And I just want to add, as you all know who follow me, I've read the book already myself. And I've got to say, it's actually a very good book. It gave me like goosebump vibes almost, not the so much as the themes, but the way that it
Mhm.
was written, um, which
It
I
was funny
enjoyed
that you
it.
said that because someone else said that it gave like Fear Street, and which is also
Yeah.
R.L. Stein. And so I was like, that's interesting. I never would have thought to compare, but I think you mentioned in one of your vlogs that you were looking at R.L. Stein, like how he outlines
Hmm.
his books, and I actually outlined very similar to how R.L. Stein outlined. So I was like, maybe that's why it kind of had the same vibe. I don't know.
Right. It might, but yeah, I think for me, it was like the voice. Your
Hmm.
voice is similar. So yeah, if you enjoy, stuff like Fear Street, Goosebumps, definitely go get Cody's book. Um, all right, so I'm gonna start with a few questions. You are self-published. Um, why exactly was the option for you self-published instead of traditional?
I think for me, the reason that I wanted to do self publishing was because if I ever one day wanted to pursue traditional, um, I would want to sort of have a little bit of leverage with knowledge. And because with indie publishing, I'm doing every step of the process on my own. I have researched how to do it. I have, put in the work to learn how to do everything. That way, in the future, if I ever am traditionally published, I can walk into the room with more knowledge in my back pocket than I would have if I had never indie published.
Okay. That's actually a good answer. I like that. I mean, have things been going did everything go as expected for you in self-publishing?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, there was nothing that was a super surprise to me because I spent, I mean, at least like a year or two just scouring YouTube for any and all indie publishing content. And I pretty much learned everything about indie publishing through a YouTube video of some sort. So, yeah, I did a lot of research and pretty much everything went as about how I expected it to based on what other authors had said their experience was. And so, yeah.
Okay. And I mean, if you can give us like just, a basic outline, like how did your process look as far as getting to self-publishing?
So, like, from you mean from like draft one to getting it published?
Hmm.
So, I started off with the rough draft, and I probably started the very first draft of this book at least 6 times over the course of like 7 or 8 years. And I had always, for whatever reason, I had made the promise to myself that I wanted to be a published author by the time I turned 30. Well, like I said, I had given up many a time on this first draft. Well, I turned 28 and I was like, wow, I'm getting real close to 30. 30 is looking real close. And so I was like, I need to seriously, if I'm going to do this, I need to just sit down, figure it out, do the work, and get it done.
Hmm.
And so I went back to the drawing board. I completely redid the outline. And then it took me probably about 5 months to finish the full first draft. And then, because I had very little experience with the beta reading critique partner process, I was
Hmm.
like, it would be such a good idea for me to send this first draft to readers. And that was big mistake number one. If you're watching this, don't send a first draft unless they're like a really close friend.
Hmm.
Don't recommend sending a book to strangers if it's the first draft. So I got some pretty tough feedback on it.
Hmm.
And the thing was, I can handle criticism if it's valid. And every criticism, even though it was a little harsh, it was all valid. And I was so like, that was kind of what sent me back to the drawing board.
Hmm.
And I did a full rewrite because I realized based on feedback that I had written it in the wrong POV. So I ended up switching it to a first-person POV and made Logan the center character that we follow throughout the story. And then from there, I did a couple drafts of developmental edits. And then I had my first critique partner experience with Alyssa and the Books here on YouTube. We ended up swapping stories and she gave me feedback. And then from there, professional editor. And then after the 2 rounds of professional edits, we published it.
You was ready.
So it was a journey. It was a journey, but it was a fun journey for sure.
As it always is. So I ask this question. I ask everybody this question. Do you remember the first story that you wrote? Like, how old were you, first of all, when you first started writing?
Gosh, I don't remember how old I was, but I do remember I had this neighbor. Her name was Miss Jeanette. And I would go over there because she would, she was the woman that if you wanted some candy, she'd be like, "Here you go, have some candy. Don't, I won't tell your mama." She was real sweet. And I was over there one time and she was in the middle of doing some writing. And she told me that she was working on a book. And I was like, "Wait, people write books?" Like I thought they just like appeared magically from, I don't know, from somewhere. But I had never met someone in my life that said they were writing a book. And that was the first time. And I was like, that's so cool. And so my very first writings, I would literally go over there sometimes after school and she would watch me until my parents got home. And I would sit and watch episodes of Pokemon and I would be like typing down like what was happening in like book form because I was like, I'm going to write a Pokemon book. But clearly what I was doing was plagiarism. And but 10-year-old me didn't know anything. He was just having fun and experiencing writing for the first time. And then the first thing that I remember writing on my own was a little short story, and it was called Mikey the Magnificent Monster. And at the time, I had pretty much moved like every single year of grade school up until that point. And so I had a hard time making friends. And basically the story is about this boy who feels lonely. So he goes and buys a comic book and he makes a wish for a friend. And then the monster inside of the comic book comes out and ends up escaping from his room. He goes on this journey to like bring him back and get him back in the comic book. But by the end of the story, they're friends and he doesn't want him to have to go. And it was like a really cute little something, but that's the first like piece of original writing that I ever did. And I love it so much. I still have a copy of it in my basement.
Oh, well, we need to see that copy because I tell you all y'all this. I want to see the difference, but that idea that you had when you were younger, that is a good idea. Like
yeah.
All the emotional things in there too. He didn't want the monster to go after. Okay. See, I just like the mindset of other writers, like listening to their stories and their ideas.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so far, because you just published your first book, have you gotten any like negative reviews on it yet? And like, how do you deal with that?
I mean, yeah, I've gotten a couple negative reviews, and at the end of the day, like, first of all, I don't let myself get too invested or put too much stakes in what people have to say about my book, because at the end of the day, I wrote this book for me and no one else, and I'm just sharing this piece of work that I wrote for myself with the world. And if they like it, then great, and if they don't, then that's fine too. It's not any reflection of me or my ability to create art. It's just their personal opinion, and it didn't gel with them, and that's okay.
Right. Exactly. And I think every writer, every author should have that mindset, because even your favorite authors, they get negative reviews as well. And
yes,
most of the time it's just because it's not a book that is for them.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're a bad writer.
Mm.
So glad you said that.
Yeah.
All right. So you kind of gave me a little, you kind of answered this question a little bit already. But how long altogether was the process from like when you first picked it back up 100% and you say, okay, you're going to do this, you get too close to 30.
Yeah.
How long as in total was that process?
I'd say from when I started it seriously back in October of 23. So I guess about a year and a half, a little over a year and a half.
Okay.
Of like hardcore, like every day I was doing something for this book. So
That's
yeah,
not bad.
about a
That's
year
not
and a
bad at all.
half.
Okay, a year and a half. But see, if you just take it seriously and you write every day, you do something to it every day, you can finish it in a good amount of time.
Exactly, just like a little something. Because I mean, I wasn't doing a lot because I mean, I'm just like a normal dude. I was still having 9-to-5 job, so
Right.
I'm writing in the cracks of time that I have.
Right. And I mean, with that being said, what are you working on now? What's your newest project?
Right now, I am working on draft 2 of my next book, which is a paranormal thriller. It is currently under the alias of Project Terms and Conditions. And so I'm working on that now. I was actually working on it for most of the day today, and I am now into, I think it's part 5. It's broken up into, I think, 5 different parts, and all of the parts are a countdown to a storm. And so I'm at the section that's titled The Storm. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Can't wait.
It's a fun one for sure. I'm having a blast with
it. Good. So where can they find the Ghostwriters Club?
Paperback, it is available online everywhere. And then the ebook is available on Kindle and Kindle Unlimited.
Excellent. All right. Now you know what time it is.
It is time.
It's time to write. So let's see. Let me get my wheel up here. Now, do you need to stretch? Do you need to do anything? Get some water? Everything you need. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm good. I'm set.
All right. Look, I see you even got your doc ready already. You the first one that's had it ready.
Yeah, I knew what was about to happen. So let me just go ahead and get it set up.
I love to see it. All right. Hold on. Let me put it
Actually, before we spin this, I am going to run and get a little Band-Aid because I have somehow busted open my little wound on my finger.
Oh, no.
My cat was stretching on me, and I think she caught it. So I'll be right back in like 2 seconds.
All right. We got you. All right, y'all. Cody went to get a Band-Aid real quick. That'll give us a good time to catch up. Ian, hey, great. Hold on, let me put the comments up here. Matter of fact, forgot to put y'all's comments up here on the stage. All right, guys. It's good to see you all. Sarita, Ash, we got Araya, got Lynn, we got DK. Everyone jumping in to say hello while Cody is getting a Band-Aid.
Yeah,
he's back.
Am I the first person to bleed on the podcast?
Yes, the first person to bleed on the podcast.
Lord.
That's right. You're setting the scene because we got. Yeah. I think I got some creepy prompts still going on.
Ooh, love that. Love that.
Right. That's your forte.
I am prepared. Yes, I saw CK's comment. Yes, Cody is okay.
He's all right, guys. We got him a Band-Aid.
Yes.
All right. We about to spin the wheel. Hold on. Let me get to my wheel. All right. There we go.
Da, da, da.
What will it be? A woman wakes up in the middle of a swamp, a severed arm handcuffed to her wrist.
Wow. That's an image for sure.
That's an image that you now have to give us.
Okay. Waking up in the middle of a swamp, a severed arm handcuffed to her wrist. Okay. All right. So I'm excited. I'm also nervous because I struggle to do anything on the spot. Speak, anything. So we'll see how this goes. I've never turned down a challenge.
You got it. So, I believe in you.
I've already got some ideas spinning around in my brain.
Good, because you're about to get 5 minutes to brainstorm on the clock. Now I'm about to hold on. Wait. Let's all right, so you remember this prompt, or you need to write it down just in case or anything. If not, you can go ahead and put your doc up there. Where with this?
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, do I put it? Okay,
wait, I'm lying. You already got it.
Okay.
All right.
So, woman wakes up in swamp with handcuffed to a severed arm. hand.
Yes. Wait, look, I don't even know the name, bro. Let me go back. It's an arm.
Okay, so it's the whole arm. That's important.
Yes.
Okay. That's the prompt. All right, I'm ready. Whenever you are.
All right, and we are, boom, 5 minutes on the clock.
Okay.
All right, guys, the time is up. Look at that there. Look at how it turns. All right, time is up, and we are already loving your ideas.
Oh, I have no idea where it's going, so I'm hoping that comes to me while I'm setting the scene.
That's the best part. You don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
But look, we got CK. She is invested. She's like, great idea. You got the Queen of
Yeah.
the Damned.
Yeah.
We're excited. Are you? You better look more excited. You got a good idea right here
Yeah. It's the
already.
start of something. We're gonna see. I'm just gonna let it happen. I'm gonna just let it come to me.
All right, then we go. Hold on now. Where's my 20 minute? There it is. All right. We're about to start the 20 minutes. Get your fingers ready
All right.
and let it rip. All right, guys, it's time. It's time to shine. The 20 minutes is up. How are you feeling? How do you feel?
I feel good. That was so fun. And I was not expecting it, but I definitely ended up taking more of like a I guess a younger voice with this.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Surprises. That's what we
Yeah.
like.
I wasn't expecting it to go the way that it did, but I like it.
Good. Because I like it too. Because at first I was a little bit scared. I was like, see, this is what happens. You never know when it's going to start flowing. And
Uh-huh.
then when it starts, and
Yeah.
it starts coming out just like that. So love to see it. And guess what? You know that we're going to have you read it. But first, if you could think of a title, what would it be? Just off
Um off the cuff.
yeah, off the cuff.
Um I mean, I'm just thinking Queen of the Damned. That's all I'm thinking right now. I don't know.
Okay.
Um a swampy soiree.
Okay. Okay. I
or
mean, I like it.
severed in the swamp. There you
Severed in
go.
the okay, that's not
Because
bad.
the severed arm.
Yeah. And how many words is this that you got?
Oh, I don't know. Not a lot.
I know.
It is. Oh, I gotta do the little. 338.
Okay, not bad.
In 20 minutes. That's actually pretty. I guess kind of on par for me. I'm a slower writer because I like I don't know. I piece sentences together slower. I guess
Hmm.
because
No,
I'm
I
like,
get
how
that.
do I want to say this? Because I can see it. How do I want to say it? You know?
Right, it's getting it from your head onto the paper. That's the trick.
Yeah.
All right, so then let's have you read it. Put us in the feel of the story.
Okay. The wet air nearly drowns me as I come to. My body jolts forward and threatens to throw up food that isn't there. This sudden burst of movement causes the chain attached to my wrist to rattle, and I follow the gray chain with my eyes. The sight of the severed arm on the other end sends my body jolting forward again. Dark green liquid is all that manages to escape my empty stomach. When it finally subsides, I remember. It was meant to be a team building exercise, nothing more, or at least that's what the cult master said. We were here to come to this we were to come into this swamp, retrieve a specific moss for his apothecary, and get out. What he failed to mention is that the specific moss can only be found growing along the tomb of the one and only Queen of the Damned. After the Ivar twins got separated on their last mission, leading to one of them not coming back, the new order requires us to be linked to our partner via cuffs to ensure that both make it back safely. I knew this was a stupid idea from the start, but God forbid a loyal cult member have an opinion. The first part of the mission went off without a hitch, and before we knew it, we had made it to our destination. The tomb stood at least 12 feet over our heads, a monolith against the night sky. At the base of the tomb, there came a violet glow. We were briefed before our mission that the specific moss we needed is better to hunt at night due to its luminescent properties. Danielle and I split up as far as our chain would allow, scraping the moss from the wet stone. We had nearly reached the desired amount when everything stopped. The leaves, the river, the wind, everything went silent. You shouldn't be here. The voice sounded like it was right by my face, but when I turn, there is no one there.
Mm. And you know what? I like because this could have went a lot of different ways. You know what I'm saying? Waking up in the swamp with a severed arm attached
Yeah.
to the cuffs. But I like the idea that you gave that you started. You know that you came up with as far as it being tied to some kind of like mission almost for a cult
Hmm.
leader that they had to do. And I really want to know how the hell did the arm get there? That's see now you got me wanting to know what happened when
Yeah.
that voice came.
What happened? Yeah. What happened after that?
Right. Was it actually from some Queen of the Dam? Or was it like some ghost? Or was it some person? Or was it some, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
We don't
I
know.
have an idea of how the story ends.
Okay, tell us.
And perhaps it was none of them, and perhaps her best friend betrayed her.
Oh, okay.
Because the Queen of the Damned might have offered the main character something in exchange.
Okay, so you're saying wait a minute, wait.
That's kind of where
So,
my brain was going towards the end of it.
like the main character that we see that woke up with the arm,
Mm-hmm.
she betrayed her friend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you trying to say she sacrificed her ass?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like it. I like that.
Yeah.
Y'all see that?
That was kind of
In,
like the vibe of where we were headed, I
yeah,
think. So, yeah.
in real time. That's a yeah. I like how you bringing that all together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and let me see. We got. Hold on. Who did I say? Oh yeah. So Araya did have a question for you as well that I
Okay.
missed earlier. So hold on. Let me get her to. Not me trying to bring the wheel back up. Hold on. All right, Araya, this is Araya's question. Is your draft 2 of this new project easier than the second draft of your previous one? Any big changes on how you are attacking this new book?
This draft 2 has actually been much easier than my last one. And I think the reason that this has been easier is because through the mini drafts that I did of the Ghostwriters Club, I was really able to find the process that works best for me and the way I work most efficiently. And now taking that experience and applying it to this book it's just, I already know what works. So the progress is going faster. Draft 2 of Ghostwriters Club took me 6 months to do. But that was also because I was doing a full rewrite. But with project terms and conditions, it's already in the POVs that I want. It's dual POV, if you didn't know. And so that's a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm just having a much easier time with this one. I think because I planned the second book much better than I did the first one.
Okay. Yeah, it definitely takes writing a lot of books to really understand,
Mm-hmm.
how to write, how to tackle the situation as a whole. I know when I first started writing books, I didn't know what the hell I was doing either. But no, as the more books that you write, then it just becomes like a second
Yeah,
nature thing for you.
you get better with each book.
Yeah, right. And then we got, let me see, Sarita, what's an expectation versus reality you weren't expecting for self-publishing?
I guess I actually have a positive expectation versus reality. So going into self-publishing, I had watched a lot of videos where authors had talked about their horrible experience with Ingram Spark's customer service. And they had always talked about how you couldn't get a hold of anyone. Like every time that you would reach out to them, they would just send like a copy paste email, and that's all you would get. And they had horrible experiences. So when I knew that I wanted to publish with Ingram Spark, and so I had like done every ounce of research that I could, and just to ensure that I didn't mess anything up, because I knew that it would be a hard time to get something fixed if something was messed up. But my experience was actually really smooth. There were a couple things that did come up that ended up getting put in wrong, and I was able to contact customer service, and it was fixed in like a day or two. So that was probably the biggest expectation versus reality. I was expecting it to be a nightmare, but they stepped it up. So shout out to Ingram Spark for making my life a little less scary.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one because I also heard a lot of horror stories about Ingram Spark.
Yeah.
So yeah. And what else did we got? Sarita. Look at you. And maybe another question. What is one thing you learned during publishing your first book that you would do differently for your next?
I'm trying to think. I mean, because pretty much everything that I did for the first one, I would do again for the second one. But I guess as far as that's tough. Let me think about it for a second.
Yeah, think about it.
I mean, I guess for those mistakes I was talking about that I experienced whenever dealing with Ingram Spark and stuff like that, I guess I would do that differently now that I know how to do it the correct way. But I guess I have seen people talking about this, so I'm gonna, I guess, use this as mine. But having a uniform font for your author name. And so with this one, obviously I've kind of boxed myself in with like the creepy kind of way that it's writing. And
Mhm.
I was watching a lot of marketing videos recently that have been talking about how you want the font of your name to remain consistent across your books, because it just, if someone sees that font with your name, they're like, oh, I'd recognize that book, if that makes sense. So I guess something that I would do differently is I would pick a different font for my author name.
I like that font. You don't like that
No,
font?
I like it for this, but as like a consistent, like using this for font for every
Ah,
single like thriller book that I do, you know.
right.
But then again, you know, I'm the boss. I can make my own rules and just not worry about it. But you know,
Exactly. Well, maybe you can have like a specific one for that specific,
hmm
theme, and then one
like
specific one for the other,
like
that you
different
write.
genres have like
Hmm.
a font for each genre.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
smart. That's smart.
Yeah, like that. Because doesn't, I think Stephen King, I think he does that. Like, depending on the type of book, the font will be different. Like his
Hmm
more like creepy ones, you can say, he has
hmm
that little bloody looking font, and then like the other ones, it's just like a normal type of, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, something to think about, Cody. If I'm making sense, I hope.
Yeah.
Some people were saying that, hold on, what did CK say? It was funny.
I love
Exactly.
it. Yeah, that's I was really finding like a comedic voice. And it was like this girl who was like, I didn't really want to do this mission, but they made me do it. And they handcuffed me to this girl, and we met the Queen of the Damned, and she was like, me or her. So obviously I said me. So like that's the vibe of the character I was giving, was like that energy. And so God forbid a loyal cult member have an opinion.
Right.
They're very sassy. And I don't know who this character is, but I love them.
Love it too. All right. I think we got some late party rappers. So for one, where can everyone find you at?
I'm on YouTube as Cody the Writer. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok as Cody the Writer. I mostly post like stories and stuff over there, and little updates. And I think that's it. And then you can find my book, Ghost Writers Club, under Cody Wayne Morris. And yeah, my second book is probably at this point like less than a year out, maybe.
Mhm.
So yeah, excited to start sharing some more stuff about that on the channel.
I'm excited to see it. And CK, you snuck in here. How did I miss this question, CK? You done snuck it in on me. She said, you wrote a thriller and now you're working on a fantasy. What's your favorite genre to write, and what genres do you see yourself writing in the future?
Oh, I mean, honestly, I probably only see myself writing in thriller, like the thriller-esque in all of its subgenres, and fantasy. I mean, because I feel like thriller and horror go so hand in hand that I feel like those go interchangeable for me. So horror and thriller are over here, and then I have my fantasy side over here. But I don't really see myself writing in any other genre, because I want to write books in genres that I enjoy reading, and those are like the main genres of books that I read. So
Mm-hmm. Same for me. Yeah, but good answer. Good answer.
thanks.
But very, very much enjoyed having you today and seeing your process, your brainstorming, hearing more about your future project. I think we all enjoyed it, where you're going with the in the swamp with the severed hand,
Yeah,
sacrificing friends and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I definitely loved it. And I am so thankful that you accepted the challenge, because a lot of people they're too scared to do it. But Cody came and he
Yeah.
showed out.
It was hard, but I'm glad I did it because it was fun. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, is just having fun. We're all friends here. There's nothing to be scared of.
Thank the Lord. Thank you. Thank you for saying it. All right, y'all. Well, it was great having you all join us today. Join us next time, and have a great rest of your night.
Bye.